Welcome to the D.H.E show, where we talk about building empires without sacrificing on bedtime stories. Each episode covers 2 to 4 actionable things that you can implement today in your business to start seeing some success. But maybe more importantly, we're dads and we're husbands, and to us, that comes first, because what is the point of building this whole empire, of building these businesses, if you're not bringing your family along with you on the journey, right? If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us today. This episode hopefully will clear up some misconceptions about fulfillment. If you are a manufacturer of goods and services, or if you are a seller of any sort of physical product, you've got to get it to the end customer, right? And there's a lot of misinformation floating around out there on the best way to do it. What makes us experts? Well, we've screwed up a lot in the last year on using major companies versus doing it ourselves. And today we're walking through that journey, what we learned, where we screwed up, and hopefully, most importantly, how you can avoid making the mistakes that we made too. If you're new to the show, we have one favor we ask. Please do us a huge one and share the show. We don't run ads here. We don't promote products except our knowledge here and what we've learned and build in this journey, and we give it all away for free. And all we ask is, if you got value out of this, if you enjoyed the content, if you learned something, please share the show with someone that you think needs what we're talking about. We would greatly appreciate it. Enough of listening to me. Let's just jump into Matt and Ole talking about fulfillment for Switchback Foods. Welcome back to the D.H.E show, where we...
The fuck? You said you do the D.H.E show intro.
I do.
The fuck are you doing?
I'm trying to get you on track.
I am on track. I'm sitting here waiting for you to talk about 3PLs and fun shit that I have spent the last 6 weeks of my life. Oh. That's a lie. It's been 3 months since I first wanted to fire our 3PL.
So if you are a entrepreneur and you are selling products, chances are you have to ship it somehow to get to your customer. And Ole is going to help us understand when to use a 3PL and when to just be in-house. And this is not theoretical. This is based on Ole's, we'll just call it experiences over the last few months. So Ole.
What's up, dude?
What the hell is, walk us through this whole 3PL world. What is 3PL?
I use the wrong words. I use 3PL all the time, Matt, and I think it pisses people off. Fulfillment, third-party logistics fulfillment, same shit, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's the same. In my book, it's the same stuff. I use the terms interchangeably. So, okay, I jumped back a year when I was starting this, and I had these visions. I was going to 3PL. In fact, the first spaces I looked at, Matt, were actually warehouse spaces. I don't know if you knew that, but I was actually going to have a warehouse and have all my own product, and I was going to do all this stuff myself. And then I started talking with a bunch of big business people that were like, Harvard MBA types. Like, you can't fulfill your own shit, man. Like, you want to grow your business and you got to use some. And so, I just naturally turned to talking with fulfillment companies and 3PLs. And what I realized was... And this is before we've sold anything. Yeah, this is long before I've sold it. I mean, this is it, because we needed to figure this stuff out in order to figure out, are we moving the product from Coman to Minnesota? Are we keeping it in Utah? What are we going to do with it? And so, to the advice of these very successful guys, and this is like a brain fart in my world, these guys were running $500 million to $1 billion businesses. Of course, they're going to use a freaking fulfillment company. They're not me, right? And
they're not starting. They're not in year 1, 2, or 3.
No, not even close. And they probably lose more money every single day to just bleed on whatever than we make in a day. That's a fact. But so everybody told me to get my own. So that's when I kind of shifted. I said, okay, I'm not going to look for a warehouse, office of the warehouse, and I'm going to find a fulfillment company that does it. Well, I'm going to throw something out there because I think this is a piece that, and you've heard me probably say, these fulfillment companies, they're all the fucking same. At the end of the day, how they get to the end number is basically identical. And it's I don't know if it's collusion, if the Justice Department should just jump in and start going out. They're all pretty much the same. So what a fulfillment company does is you ship them your product. So whether you have a pallet or 10 pallets or 50 pallets, you ship them your product. And they take that product and they store it. And as you get orders, those orders it's called pick, pack, ship. They pick it. So they have a little barcode, they zap it, they pull it off the shelf, they scan it, they put it in an envelope, print the mailing label, and they ship it. And it's all great. Do you follow, Matt? Do you have any questions so far?
No, I'm with you.
So what's really interesting about the fulfillment space, like I said, is it seems like all of them are pretty much the same. And all of them use a bunch of fancy words and fancy terms. And they're all so much, it's the confusion theory, which just pisses me off because it's not like they actually want to help me. Like they're just like, how can I confuse the hell out of you? So we use a fulfillment company and admittedly, like the people there are great, like they're super nice and we've enjoyed it. But back in November, let's back up for a second because one of the things a fulfillment company can do, and this is a massive key if you're starting a business. One of the things, Matt, like when you were in food, or you are in food, did you ever have any customers of yours have their fulfillment company kit their product? By kit, taking like 10 of one thing, putting it in a box, sealing it, right?
So my food world is a little different than what we're doing because I deal with multi-billion-dollar companies that by and large do all their manufacturing and fulfillment themselves. So, there was one product line, Hormel's party trays. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Hormel makes parts of that, but they ship the meats to a fulfillment company. I get it's probably not the right term for them, but there are instances where even giant food companies will use an outside service like this. They get all the raw ingredients shipped there, and then that company kits it. They put it all together, and then they will ship it and send it.
Yep.
So it does happen. It's just not as common in big food.
Dude, so kitting, right? Kitting is an interesting concept. If you go to Costco and you buy the Kirkland flavored water, and it's like 6 lime, 6 strawberry, 6 banana. I'm just making shit up here. That was all. Those went to a fulfillment company, and those were like an entire truckload of the first, second, and third, and then they take 6 of each, and then they re-shrink wrap it. Like it's mind-boggling that machines don't do this. The amount of human labor that touches products blew my mind. Like I envision all this stuff being done by machine. No, human labor is a major portion of food processing. So we had our 3PL fulfillment company kit for us. Kitting at a fulfillment company is incredibly expensive. So if you are having a product and you need 10 to go into a bag, 10 to go in a box, have your co-manufacturer do that. Do it yourself. Do not use a fulfillment company. It is about 4 times the cost for them to do it.
Here's the thing. A fulfillment company's expertise is fulfillment. So if you send bulk products, so what Ole's talking about is we send a pallet full of a flavor, 3 flavors, 3 pallets, pallet of individuals. And then that fulfillment company will go when we get an order for a variety pack, and they'll grab 3 flavors of one, 3 flavors of another, and 2 of another, or however it works out.
Something to understand if you're using a fulfillment company. If they're going to kit for you, it's going to be incredibly expensive. It's going to really hammer your cogs. But the genesis of a fulfillment company is pick, pack, ship, and they all have these fees that are, I feel like, when you look at them at a high level, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you get the bill and you're like, what the fuck did I just get? Because it becomes incredibly expensive. So to put that in perspective, our 3PL charges us $20 a month for a pallet. We've got 20 pallets. To hold the pallet. So $20 a month times 20 pallets. There's $400. We have a $300 admin fee. We have a $1.90 fee every time they pick an item. So every time they grab an item off the shelf, that is $1.85. If it's 3 items going in the order, they charge 25 cents per item extra. We get charged for the mailing envelope. We get charged the shipping, and we don't get the discounted shipping rate, which it turns out to me, which we can discuss, like I was under the impression we got discounted shipping, but it turns out that's just like not standard. So when you factor all of that stuff in, we were spending probably around $1,000 a month just on fixed costs with them holding our product. Once you add in our pick, pack, ship costs, it was costing us on average $11 to ship a 7-pack and about $15.75 to ship a 21-pack. What that means is our margins were abysmal, particularly on the 7-pack. We were getting hammered.
Is the idea that those fees that they charge us per item, do they go down with volume?
They do, but they only go down like 20 cents. So you're not going to pick up an insane amount of margin by having immense volume. I mean, you're going to pick up some, but it is negligible.
So the cost of using a fulfillment, at least in our example with who we were using, like that's cost just has to be built in always.
Yeah, no, it has to be built in. If you are shipping a product direct to the consumer, you have to build in the fulfillment cost. You have to build in the shipping cost. You've got to build in the pallet storage. All that stuff needs to go into the total cost of your product, which adds up significantly over time.
And the idea of using that fulfillment center is it's A, labor we don't have to hire and manage ourselves, and B, space that we don't have to own and manage ourselves.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And this is the shit that really, I go back and I kick myself in the butt for, Matt, because we jump back 2 years. Had we gotten an office with a warehouse like I looked at, like the warehouse space is like $5 a foot, okay? Office space where we're at is, I think we pay like $10 a foot, something like that. Maybe it's 12. Warehouse space is cheap. It is cheap. Now, you want to get into pallet store, you want to get into racking and like have 4 levels of pallets, like that becomes expensive because you need a forklift, you need all this stuff. I get it. I'm not going to ever tell any entrepreneur, like, it's super simple. But starting off, it's the greatest solution in the world is to do your own pick, pack, ship yourself. And I'm going to explain why in just a second. But before I go there, I have talked with 3PLs all across the country. And I've talked with some of the biggest jackasses in the 3PL industry. So much so one of them was, he called me, we set up a meeting. I had no idea. I thought he was just like an intro meeting. He went through this big, long presentation. He lost me halfway through. And then I go, hey, this is great, but I'd really love to involve our CFO. Do you know what he responded to me with, Matt? Well, you should have had him on the phone call to begin with. I was like, piss off, buddy. We are never hiring you. That's a true story. And I was just like, wow, this guy's an angry elf. What you're going to find in the fulfillment space, and this is a piece that most people don't understand, is you're going to find there's probably going to be 5-6 different core models. And what I mean by that is it's either going to be an all-in price. It's going to be, shipping is different. Fees are different. So I've got guys that have pitched hey, we have this all-in price. If you're in our warehouse and you ship to zone 1, it's this amount for this much weight. If it's this much weight, it's this amount going to this zone, blah, blah, blah. So it supposedly makes it easier. What you don't realize, and you're allured, oh, it's so simple, it's so easy, all in one price. The problem is that those all-in prices are super, super high. So again, if you jump back, we were at $11 to fill a 7-pack. And I've gotten proposals from people. It's all the way on up to $14 to fulfill a 7-pack on the all-in cost to probably $10 to fulfill a 7-pack. And I'm not going to negate the fact that they have margin and they need to make margin, but I'm going to walk you through what made me decide, Matt, we are pulling this crap away from fulfillment, not going to use a fulfillment partner for the foreseeable future. You ready?
Yeah.
So I was going through it again, and you can send, I was just pissed because I was going we're bleeding cash in this stuff. And remember when we built our website and they said, hey, you can do shipping super easy on here? Yeah. And you and I kind of were well, yeah, but we got a 3PL and, blah, blah. And Matt hammered, he's like, dude, shipping, it's so easy to ship with Shopify. They make it stupidly simple. You get the discounted rates. You save a bunch of money. Well,
it's so simple that there's a button. You just click print the label for the customer right in Shopify.
Oh, yeah, except for I found out the other day you can do mass labels and mass.
We're not going into that in this episode. Don't worry. We're just talking.
But they make it so easy. You can literally do 10 labels at once. It's mindless. So I went in there. I'm starting to get very frustrated with our fulfillment company, cost wise, and shipping costs. Everything is it's just driving me up a wall. So I started doing some math. And I started really digging into this, and I started sending you these spreadsheets left and right, probably annoying the hell out of you at 6 a.m. But I was like, okay, like if we have free shipping and we sell it for $30, and they're like Shopify. So let me just walk you through it. Our 7-pack is essentially like just over half a pound. I think it's like 0.65 pounds. To ship that product across the country from Minnesota to pretty much anywhere in the country ranges from like $4.75 locally to about $6.25 if I'm shipping it to San Francisco or out to Maine, New Hampshire, etc.
Okay.
Our 3PL was charging us $10 a shipment.
More than double?
Almost double. And was
that anywhere in the country, or is that just the average?
That's the average. I mean, like, even local, even shipments that were going, within a 25, 30-minute drive of our 3PL, because we had orders coming in from the area, we were being charged almost $8.50 for a local shipment. I shipped a 21-pack yesterday out of this office, and it was going like 6 miles down the road, which is essentially what some of these shipments were in Utah. I shipped a 21-pack for $5.85. It doesn't make sense. So we asked them very like point blank last year. We're like, guys, are we getting the discounted rates? Yeah, you get the discounted rates. I'm like, you guys claim to ship 50,000 packages a week or day, week. I don't remember what it is. You guys should be getting like the best USPS rates. They aren't passing the savings along to us. They're taking that as their margin. They're taking that as opportunity.
Well, also, I think what we learned is that Shopify is a pretty big fucking company, and they got some pull with a lot of places, and they get pretty damn good rates too.
Yeah, and the other thing, like Shopify, and there's another company out there, if you are going to fulfill yourself and you're not on Shopify, pirateship.com. It has identical rates to what Shopify has. You can ship via USPS or FedEx, and you get those discounted rates. You will see, using Pirate Ship, go in and punch stuff in. Hell, if you're using a 3PL right now or fulfillment company, go out there and validate it with Pirate Ship. If it is double the cost of Pirate Ship, pull that shit in-house right now and increase the margin in your business. So here are the other things. Like they mark up the mailing envelopes. They mark they've got their 3PL.
Well, we went through all the costs. Like, what was your reason then for shifting?
So what I realized was, I mean,
you got cheaper rates, way cheaper rates.
We got way cheaper rates. We will now have our product in-house. So when we need to do something, we need to change something, we need to redo something, we have access to it, and we can do it immediately without paying, between 10 and 20 cents per touch per item, which adds up over time. Our neighbor who's going to warehouse our product for us is charging us a nominal pallet storage fee, so we're saving money there. We have no admin fee. I think the fear it's that fear of the unknown, Matt, where for me, we're probably going to increase, we're probably going to save $3 to $4 an order in shipping costs and handling costs, which to us and to you, to anybody as a startup, is a lot of freaking money. I mean, that's an enormous amount of money that we can save by doing this ourselves. And by the way, like if you're sitting there going like, there's no way I can fulfill myself. I fulfilled 10 orders the other day. Everything was, I kitted it all up the day before, but like to pick, pack, ship 10 orders took me about 6 minutes. I mean, that's 10 orders that took me 6 minutes. Now, if I'd been using our 3PL for that, between the markup on the shipping and their pick fee, we probably came out ahead by doing it ourselves. We probably came out ahead like $30-$40. So that's 10 minutes. Now multiply it by $180. So they need $180 an hour. I don't know. So there's all these little costs that are going to add up using a fulfillment company that will not occur if you do it yourself. And again, if you're shipping 10, 20, 30, 40 orders a day, I truly believe you're better off just devoting an hour in the afternoon to it, because it doesn't take that much time if your product is ready. If you literally take it off the shelf, drop it in a mailing envelope, you're set. It's super easy. The other piece of it is fulfillment companies are going to try and scare you. And they're going to try and they try and scare us. Well, if you don't use us, you're not spending time getting sales. Yeah, but you're an e-commerce company, Matt. We're an e-commerce company. We're not out there pounding the pavement right now. So if I spend an hour a day fulfilling orders to save us a couple $100, you said it best. What does a couple $100 a day do to our business, Matt? What can we do with an extra $100 a day?
Well, if we plow it into advertising and up our paid social spend, I mean, that's thousands of eyeballs that we're going to get.
That right there is why you don't use a fulfillment company as a startup. Fulfill it yourself because you can take all that money. Their ads are actually completely backwards. Take that money and invest it in more marketing. Take that savings and put it towards more marketing. Grow your business faster by fulfilling yourself. You get to 1,000 orders a day. Yeah, outsource the shit out of that or hire your own people. Stop listening to the fulfillment companies. They are making money hand over fist.
I think it's not just the fulfillment companies. It's and I don't blame the current state of entrepreneurship or like, you know, the podcast experts out there talking about this stuff. But there's a big movement that basically says you should only be doing things that are the best, highest and best use of your time. Ole should only be doing the things that are thousands of dollars an hour tasks that Ole is uniquely positioned to do. Right? That's the movement. Ole should be out talking to people. He should be out doing what he is. He's Switchback. He's the face of Switchback. And there's a huge movement that says that's all you should be doing, Ole. You shouldn't be fulfilling your orders because that's a $10 task that you should be outsourcing. Right? Like that's why people fall into this trap of outsourcing everything. The problem is that your highest and best use of time when you're only 3 months old might be fulfillment. You're 3 months old. You don't have the name, the clout, like you don't have anything to go network and make no one cares yet enough about you. Go make people care more about your company and who you are and selling shit.
So
before you start saying that you're too big, too good to be fulfilling orders.
Matt, you're spot on. And I always think about this because this is probably 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I read this article. But I thought it was fascinating. And when you think about a food company, what is fulfillment in a food company, right? Take Jimmy John's and Domino's. What is their fulfillment? It's their delivery, right?
Yeah.
Why are Domino's and Jimmy John's two of the most profitable franchises and two of the most dominant companies in their industry?
Well, they both deliver on delivery. Freaky fast sandwiches.
They own their delivery. That is, all of that margin is theirs.
Yeah, there's no Uber drivers coming to pick up Jimmy John's.
Can't do it. You go to a lot of these other companies. They're paying a fortune to have someone else do what they could do themselves, but they've chosen not to do.
Yeah.
Think about that in terms of our business. I mean, Matt, I'm looking at a spreadsheet right here. If you take our old cost, right, our old fulfillment cost, the difference is a gross margin around about 31%.
Yeah.
Right now on this product.
Yeah.
Before we were at a gross margin of 17%.
So you doubled it.
Yeah.
By just changing fulfillment. That's not changing prices. That is how you get to a better margin for us and eventually cheaper cost to the consumer, right? Like we're able to pass that stuff on as we get more efficient ourselves and figure out how to do this.
And for a lot of that, like we lowered the price of our 21 pack to reflect the fact that we saved money on fulfillment. We wanted to pass that money along to the customer. So,
well, I got a question. And
I want to hear it.
One thing to
let's do it, brother.
Don't take this the wrong way. Don't be offended. Why did it take you so long to figure this out, and why didn't you go this route in the beginning? I know you said why you went with the 3PL, but like going through the math and the numbers, you're good at that shit. Your dad's great at that shit.
So I think
the trap?
Here's why. And at the end of the day, this is going to be the piece, Matt. And that's a great fucking question. On a funny side note related to this, I chewed my dad's ass the other day about this because I blamed it on him. We were going to do this back in November. And he's like, well, no, this was your fault. So like we got in this like fun like head buddy match, but then we both agreed like we just didn't know. I think a couple of reasons why we didn't do this sooner. One, we never fulfilled in the beginning, so we didn't understand how easy it is. I did not know how simple fulfilling an order is in Shopify. That's on me. I own that. I'll eat that all day long. The second issue is we didn't know where the product would sit, right? We didn't know where we were going to keep the product or who was going to house the product or anything along those lines. So those two reasons are really the dominant force. Like we didn't go through the repetitions. And I was going to say, before you even ask that question, if you don't understand how an order is fulfilled, you need to go do it yourself. You need to understand every aspect of your own business. And I believe that. And that's one of them. How quickly can you fulfill an order? What are the holdups when you fulfill an order? What are the pain points? You might just figure out that you can spend every afternoon from 2 to 3 o'clock listening to a podcast, learning while you fulfill orders, and save yourself a bunch of freaking money. Because literally that's what we did.
So, dude, and it's not just saving money, because now there's so many other things that come with us being able to do fulfillment ourselves. You write a handwritten note to every single person that buys for the first time. Thank you. Add some stuff to it. That used to be, we'd send the product, right? The fulfillment company would send the product out, and then Ole would send the note separately. Now you can do that all at once. Like, you can inspect the product before it goes out. You can add things to it. You can personalize and give a little extra to the customer on the receiving end of the products, because we own it now. It's ours. It's our opportunity to Jimmy John's what we're going to do here, right? We have the fulfillment companies. They have generic bags and generic packages, and I'm sure you can pay extra money to have them do your own stuff.
Oh my God, Matt.
But now we have the flexibility. We can get whatever we want to ship stuff out and make it our thing. And like Ole said, as we get good at this, it now unlocks the opportunity to really elevate. When you get a Switchback product in the future that is from us, shipped from our facility, we can make it really special and really cool. One other thing I want to add too, just again, I gave you that question and kind of called you out on what took you so long. Sometimes shit just lines up and it's time to make a change. In our case, 6 months ago, like Ole said, we didn't have space to fulfill because we have pallets of product. We use a company that makes a lot of product for us at once, so it's cheaper. And then that product has to go somewhere. It just so happened that the guy that is helping us out that you mentioned that's going to help warehouse our product, he was next door to our space in our building, and he took a new space in the building downstairs around the corner that happens to have warehousing space. But he didn't move there until a couple months ago, right? We could not have used him even if we wanted to 6 months ago because there's no space. Magically, things align. He has space. He comes up and talks to Ole. Hey, I can store product for you if you want to. Oh, maybe we should revisit this whole self-fulfillment thing.
Yeah, Matt, you're absolutely spot on with that. Is sometimes it's just, the way the universe lines up. And in this case, we've got a great opportunity here to help us increase our margin a little bit, get to where an e-commerce company probably should be on the margin, while bringing stuff in-house. And for the foreseeable future, this is something that's going to be easily doable by us. And I think back to it, right? It's are you going to be scrappy as an entrepreneur, or are you going to be entitled? And I think I took the entitled approach up front because that's what everybody told me to do. Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get your hands dirty. You don't want to do that. But all of that cost me. And if I could go back and do anything over again, I would do almost everything in-house. So I understood how much goes into it, how much effort. I can inspect the product. I can drop a handwritten note. Like Matt said, there's so many pieces. And to Matt's point, I can now, I can just say, I got an order the other day and it was a 4th order from a customer, and I don't know this person, and they just keep buying 21 packs every 3 weeks. And I go, dude, this person's awesome. So I just dropped a bottle in the order with it and said, hey, I hope you enjoy the bottle. I just want to give this to you as, thank you for your loyalty and support.
Exactly.
I couldn't do that before. It was impossible.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for walking through it and sharing with us. I think this it's helped me reframe how I think about things too, because I have for a long time been a highest and best use of time person. Outsource everything, only do what you're really good at. But the reality is, we just talked about, you got to dig into the business and understand how it all operates, because maybe outsourcing it is absolutely the wrong move. Like, build your own expertise in it instead, which still can be have someone else do it, but you still bring it in. You make it your thing. You hire someone. You own your company instead of letting all these other people, instead of relying on the world, start to be a little more self-sufficient with as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean, so Matt, I will add a piece to that, which is you talk about opportunity, like best use of time. One of the things that we're doing a new production run here in a couple weeks. When we get that product, we had two options. We could either use it, let our new co-packer kit it, which, is still having the co-packer kit it is a great option. But since the product is coming to Minnesota and we are, 80 feet from the warehouse that it's going to be sitting in, we confirmed with the owner of the warehouse, like, hey, can we come down and kit the stuff as we need it? That alone, with this new production run, will save us between $6,000 and $9,000 in cost of kitting. And that's just saying, hey, Matt, Monday mornings, do you want to go down there when we have our new employees start here soon? The three of us will go down. We'll kit up, try and kit, maybe 150, 200 units a week. Before you know it, it's all going to be kitted. We're going to be in great shape, and it saves us an astronomical amount of money. It's probably some kind of fun to do with a group.
And we get to inspect the product. We get to make sure everything looks right.
Bingo.
Like there's a lot to be learned being on in the weeds, doing the work within the company. If you're a production company, like every single time I ever went to go interview a new manufacturer that we'd bring into Target, we'd send an entire team to go inspect the entire process. We didn't look at the final product like, oh, this is fine. No, we want to know how it works. We want to see, are you doing it the way that, we expect you to? Are you doing it to the best practices that we know other vendors are doing too? Do we see, hazards and red flags and reasons throughout your production or your facilities where it's like, no, we're not doing business with you? You got to go look. You got to inspect. You got to understand how everything works in this process instead of just outsourcing as much as you can.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. You have to do it, like Matt said. I mean, it's incredibly important. The other thing is, just as a real quick FYI, if we drop a note into a package, it costs us nothing doing it ourselves. These co-packers, or not co-packers, these fulfillment companies will charge the shit out of anybody, Matt, if, it just pisses me off. Oh, you want to use your own packaging? Well, there's a 10-cent charge per. Oh, you want to do this? Oh, there's a 15-cent charge. This shit adds up. It literally will add up, and you will look at these bills and go, holy, what the just happened to me? And so I'm pretty jaded, and I get it. I'll admit it. I mean, Matt, you know this. So just if you choose to go the fulfillment, the 3PL route, because you're an overnight success and you do 1,000. Great, but be cautious of who you're using. The other thing is my last pro tip for anybody: stay away from the technology-enabled 3PLs out there, fulfillment companies. Go read reviews of a lot of these people. If you're small, the other reason to fulfill is because the big guys, they don't give a shit about you. They just don't. I reached out to 9 fulfillment companies when we were going to try and change before we pulled it in-house. 8 of the 9 said, until you get to 1,000 orders a month, we don't want to touch you. And literally, that was basically the email. It was oh, this is awesome customer service. So do it yourself. You'll get better customer service from yourself. You'll get better rates, and it's super freaking easy. So just go do it. Your margins will improve. Everything's great.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Till
everybody.
next time. See ya.